Hey guys, Ron here with Ronin Japan. I'm Ron, I'm in Japan, and I want to talk a little bit about visas. Here are my visas. So I'm not getting into the specifics of how to get a visa. If you want to get a visa, you basically just have to get a job. A lot of people are English teachers, and their company will support their visa. When you come, you might get a 1, 3, or 5 year visa, and I have no idea how or why they make the decisions to um, give those visa years. But in my experience, I've been here 12 years now. So this August will be 13 years. And let's count how many visas I have. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have 11 visas in 12 years. It's been tough. So why is that? To be honest, I have really no idea. If you're interested in the kind of visa that I've had a humanitarian's visa. It's like an engineer humanitarian's visa. If you are if you do have a choice, a lot of times you don't. But if you talk to your school, usually English teachers will get two different kinds of visas. One's the instructor visa, and the other one is the humanitarian's engineering visa. If you can at all, get the humanitarian's visa, because if you just get an instructor's visa, then you're strictly allowed only to teach, only to instruct, and be an English teacher. And that kind of prohibits other jobs that you might be able to get. If you're working outside of your visa, it can cause problems. You can get kicked out of the country if they find it later on. It'll affect your visa now and potentially your permanent residency if you ever want to apply for that. So make sure you are working under your visa. I did get a specialty visa. It's on the back of one of these guys here. There it is. It basically, I was able to teach jujitsu legally under the visa that I had. So there is a process for that. You have to show some documentation. It was pretty easy, to be honest, as long as you know what information to get. Why they only gave me so I've had basically 1 year visas the entire time. I did get a 3 year visa during COVID. I think they just wanted people out, I was like, finally, I got a 3 year visa. I've seen people come day one in Japan and they get a 5 year visa. I don't know why this is. My friend and I, this was years ago now, like 7, 8, 9 years ago. We were both working the same job, had the same amount of time. I paid all my taxes, all my pension, all the stuff you're supposed to do. We both applied for visas basically on the exact same day and got our visas on the same at the same time. We, oh, what did you get? I got 1 year visa. He got a 5 year visa. So no idea why. It just sometimes it's the mood of the people in the immigration office. To be honest, I have really no idea why they gave me so many 1 year visas. I did change my visa a few years ago to a spousal visa. With a spousal visa, you can then work any job you want. You have no restrictions, so that makes things a lot easier. Definitely do not recommend getting married just because you want the visa. I'm sure a lot of people have done that. I've been offered previously. I was working at a host club, to be honest, and the day I was training for 3, 4 months, and the day before I was supposed to start, they said, "Hey, you don't have the correct visa and you cannot work. However, I can introduce you to a girl who will marry you. You have to pay her, I can't remember what it was, like 500,000, 800,000 yen, like $6,000, and she will arrange and help you to get a marriage visa." I'm not interested in that. I did not go down that route. Blessing in disguise, probably working at a host club. You could probably make a lot of money really quickly. I was the only white dude in there. A bunch of the guys were half Filipino and Japanese, Brazilian Japanese. So everybody was a mix. I was the only white guy. It was a lot of fun, actually. I'm still friends with some of the guys I met. This was probably 8 years ago, 9 years ago now. It was a lot of fun, connected, hanging out, learning the dances, all that stuff. But in the end, I wasn't able to work because I didn't have the correct visa. And like I said, blessing in disguise because you have to drink a lot, right? I'm working still English teaching. You have to be up 4, 5, 6 o'clock a.m. drinking, not a healthy lifestyle. So all good on that end. I wasn't too disappointed even at that time. Don't go down the route of a paid for visa. It's probably just causes a bunch of issues. What makes getting a visa Mendoxai, a pain in the butt, is not only do you have to go through the process the entire time, but what you have to do to acquire the visa. Um, a lot of people are teaching English or whatever, and they have to take a day off work. Their offices are only open during the weekday, so perhaps you have to take a holiday to go and get the visa. When you do go, please be sure to bring everything you need because you might have to go back once again or run around town to get extra information. So just get everything you can. Definitely bring your passport, your current ZIU card, the residence card, your taxes. So you need to be able to prove that you paid your taxes, pension. They might even ask for that. I'm not really sure. But if you go and then apply, one, if you don't have the correct information during the application, it'll be like, you can't apply today, come back. You come back to apply again, and then they'll send you something in the mail, and there's a bunch of boxes. They'll check, oh, we need these items still. So you have to go back again. So if you don't do it properly, which has happened to me several times, unfortunately, my fault, I know, not complaining, just what it is. You might have to go back two, three times in order to actually get your visa. You can apply for your visa 3 months prior to the expiration date. So I definitely recommend applying as soon as you can and just to get ahead of it. But if it also makes it difficult because I have a motorcycle and I was riding scooter, moped, back when I first moved here. Getting a moped license is pretty easy. If you have a driver's license, you automatically have a moped license. So that's nice. Mopeds are cheap. You can find new ones for like, 200, $300. Makes life so much easier. If not, you have to take the train. So you have to take the train, probably transfer, do some walking, and then, oh, you got to go to the ward office. So each ward will have its own ward office. You have to go back to the ward office, get your tax stuff proving that you paid your taxes, take it back. And there's just a lot of running around. Again, if you're an English teacher and you need to take time off and an entire day to do this, it can be a real hassle and can cause you to lose money because you're not working right. Some of the schools, depending on who you're working with, may not be so flexible with that time allowed to do these things. Unfortunately, I did work for a couple companies that were not very flexible when it came to that, which is very annoying because you need the visa to continue working. So they should be supporting that. Some of the black companies do not, and I have had experience with that. So hopefully, if you are an English teacher, you have a company that is flexible and understanding and will help you through this entire process. But I would say just make sure you have all of the items you need: passport, your showing you paid your taxes, your ZIU card. You'll need the application form. You could probably get that online. um, and then even when I got my spousal visa, I still got 1 year visa, 1 year visa. Finally this year I got a 3 year visa, so I don't have to apply for 3 years. Once you have um, a spousal visa for 3 years, then you can apply permanent residency through that spousal visa. You can apply through your normal visas if you're living here 10 years. I've heard people doing it sooner, but it's just a little bit easier through your spousal visa because they don't do the background check on everything out there. Like, okay, you've been married for 3 years and that's it. So that's what I'm planning to do. Also, the fees for just applying for the visa is going up. So when I first moved here, I think it was 3,000 yen. So again, you have to pay not only for gas and time or train or whatever, then you actually have to pay for a stamp that they'll give you at the immigration place. You go over to this little office. There used to be this old dude that was there. You buy from him. Now there's just a machine. You put in your money, push the button, it kicks out your stamp. The stamp used to be 4,000 yen. Now it's like 6,000. That's going up. I heard that this April, we'll see what happens, that it's going up to possibly even 40,000 yen for this stamp. So, you know, 40,000 times 11, that adds up, right? So you're paying over the course of 10 years or more an extra 400,000 yen to just get your visa and be able to stay here. that adds up. 3, 4,000, that's not too bad. 6, 8 starts adding up. 4,000 is pretty huge, or 40,000, excuse me, 40,000 yen, which is probably like, $300. That can be heavy, especially for students that are coming and working part time at the conveni. There's a lot of when I first moved here 13 years ago, there weren't a lot of foreigners working at the convenis, the convenience stores. Now that's pretty much all you see. A lot of Vietnamese and Thai and just non-Japanese people working, and I think a lot of them are students. So of course they're not going to have a lot of money, and 40,000 yen is quite a bit. It can be a third or whatever of your monthly paycheck. Also, if you have a family, right? If you're in Japan and you have two, three, four kids or whatever, and you have to get not only you and your wife's visa, but also your 2 to 4 kids a visa every single year, that is going to be a huge expense. So, not really happy with what Japan is doing right now on that side of things. The economy has been stagnant for a long time. I saw something they're trying to do a lot of spending on military, which is sucking up a lot of the budget. They don't seem to have, manage their budget very well, and they're trying to find ways to, make back that money. And this is one of them. That whole conundrum of, oh, we don't have enough people in Japan, so we need to get immigrants in and other foreigners to help fill that gap, while also making it harder for foreigners to do so. So it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It is kind of frustrating. I'm in Japan for the long haul. I don't think I'm going back to America or any other country for that matter. So I just hopefully, we'll see what happens come April. Hopefully, things aren't as bad as they say they are. Also, for permanent residency, as I said, after 3 years of your spousal visa, you'll be able to apply for permanent residency, which I plan to do this July, August. Don't tell my wife. We had the actual marriage date on one day, and then the ceremony on a different, so I get them kind of confused. But I'm going to apply for that. Before application for permanent residency was 10,000 yen, Ichima yen, which is exchange right now $70, not bad at all. I heard it might be going up to 100,000 yen. Again, that's 10 times the amount that it was previously. Hopefully, that's not going to happen. April's right around the corner. We will soon find out. Also, I heard they may be having a language requirement, Japanese language requirement for that permanent residency. That kind of scares me because my Japanese is not great. I'll admit I can speak some Japanese. I get by, have no problem day-to-day interactions, but I am definitely not fluent in Japanese. My kanji is very bad. I've never studied. I don't know how I can speak the Japanese I can with the amount of studying I've not done. But that is a pretty big concern of mine. And again, we'll see what happens in April. So, you know, good luck out there. Living abroad anywhere is probably not easy. Japan, the bureaucracy here is kind of crazy. So, just a lot of hoops to jump through. Things don't make sense a lot of times. One time I needed my number, and then I needed another card, but I needed this card to get the my number, but I couldn't get the card without the my number. And it was just this conundrum I was stuck in the middle of. And I finally was like, look at this. This does not make any sense. What am I supposed to do? And they're like, ah, so da ne, so da ne, muzukashii ne. Like, oh, this is difficult. It's kind of weird. So a lot of the times it feels like the government employees don't really even know what's going on, and can be frustrating. It is what it is. If you live here long enough, you kind of just get used to it. First couple years in Japan are going to be great. The honeymoon phase, the first 1, 2 years. Third year starts to kind of weigh. Fourth or fifth year is kind of that demarcation spot. Happened to me about 4.5, 5 years. I finally hit a point. I got randomly stopped by the cops 6 times in 6 weeks. It just hurt me so bad. Wasn't doing anything, just randomly, hey, stop on my bicycle, check my registration, check my ID. Oh, okay, you're free to go. Even at one point, I'm talking to my friend on the phone Friday it was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Suddenly my doorbell rings and it's the police. I'm like, oh, why are the police here? I didn't let them in because there was a, security door there. They basically said, hey, you're a foreigner. You are bothering Japanese people. This is not good. Show us your ID now. Like, it's Friday at 1 o'clock, and I'm in my apartment that I pay for. But they were very aggressive and not nice whatsoever. I couldn't even get upset because I was just more in shock than anything. I'm like, what is going on? And at that time, so many crazy things have happened to me here in Japan and just in my life in general. But at that time, somebody was actually going into my mail and taking the mail out of my mailbox. Pretty sure I know who it is. There's this crazy woman there. She was just thought I was the scariest person on earth. I was the only foreigner living in this building, this cheap apartment building here in Maike in Nagoya. I think she was stealing my mail, which then I couldn't pay my bills. I couldn't pay my rent and my phone and everything that came through because I just get my bills, take them across the street to the conveni and pay them there. Now I have to did help improve my Japanese again. I got to call and I got to explain and try to get everything settled in. Anyways, I told the police this. I'm like, "Hey, somebody's stealing my mail. Can you do something about it?" Of course, they're not, but I just wanted to say something while they were there to try to feel like something positive on my end was going to come out. They straight up told me, "There's nothing we can do about that. Ask your apartment management." So at that time, and then as they were leaving, they're like, "Kyoskete kudasai," like, "Be careful." Like, oh my god, it was very frustrating. But at that time, I'm like, I'm done with Japan. I'm moving. I'm leaving this country. I'm never coming back. I play in a band. I announced it at our show. Even the band members were like, "What? What are you doing?" I just hit a breaking point. Talked to a friend who had been here, 10 years longer than me. He's like, "How long has it been? 4 or 5 years?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yep, that's the mark. If you can get past that, you'll be completely fine." But everybody hits that mark at around 4 or 5 years where it just kind of gets super heavy. He was absolutely right. After that year, I acclimated. Now I'm completely fine living in Japan. I'm very comfortable here. It's a great country. Anywhere you live abroad or in your home country, there's going to be things that don't make sense or that you're not happy about, or just, whatever it might be. It's not going to be the perfect place to live. But overall, Japan has been an excellent place to live. It is very safe. I've had so much fun here, and I'm 13 years. I'm 20 or no 20, 43 years old right now. So I've lived a pretty good portion of my life in Japan at this point, not going anywhere. Again, if you're feeling that, it's very natural, it's very normal. But if you get past that point, you'll acclimate. And I am super comfortable living in Japan. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you did watch all the way through, has anybody else had this many visas in in their span of living in Japan? It's absolutely ridiculous. Or do you have any stories about applying for visas or just any other, bureaucracy ridden, horror stories of living in Japan? Let me know. I'm going to try to post more videos. I've been super active on the real estate side, my YouTube video on the real estate for our real estate company, Rising Sun Properties. I just did an interview with my friend Eshin. He is a monk and a Buddhist, an ordained Buddhist monk in Zazen. Super awesome guy. Love the interview. Going to break it down to, maybe two or three different parts because it was a pretty long conversation, about an hour and a half. So stay tuned for that. I got a lot more, Japanese focused content coming. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day.